Hi, this is Aaron, and today I'm going to review the Droid Pro. Now, the Droid Pro, as you can see, is not your typical style Android phone. This is actually a portrait QWERTY phone, as you can see, full QWERTY keyboard, and is a little bit different than the others, but has Pro for a good reason, and will appeal probably to those coming off of BlackBerry and wanting to get onto Android. So let's go ahead and talk about the design and specs before we get into the operating system itself. So first of all, we have a 3.1-inch capacitive touchscreen, which is a little bit small for the Android market, but happens to be 320 by 480 in pixel density also. So a little bit smaller than we're used to, but comparable to a similar BlackBerry, something like that. Now the keyboard itself, like I said, is full QWERTY. The keys have a nice feel. They're actually slanted. Let's go ahead and let that, there we go. They're slanted, they have a nice sound to them, and seem to work pretty well. This slanting helps a lot when you're typing, and typing fast. Even with my larger hands, I can type pretty quickly on this and find it to be a very quality feel while doing so. Let's go ahead and look at the side. On the side we have our volume rocker, and as you can see we have a metal band around here. Now I'm not sure that this is the support mechanism for the entire phone structurally, but feels very rigid and nicely put together and well made. So we have our volume up and down. We have our micro USB on the side. On the top we have our sleep-wake button. We have a 3.5mm headphone jack. On this side, what looks to be a camera button is actually a button that goes into the calendar on the phone, a quick access to calendar and programmable. On the bottom we have our microphone. On the back we have our speaker, and we have a 5-megapixel camera with dual flash, or dual LED flash. We have our speaker, of course, up here. Now the phone itself, like I said, is quite nice and feels nice in the hand. Let's go ahead and turn it on. And it is a Droid. It's running a 1 GHz TI OMAP processor, and feels very responsive. It actually feels more responsive than most of the Droids I've used. I don't know if that's because it's running a lower resolution screen and smaller size, or if it's just this phone in particular. Although with the 1 GHz processor comes limited memory. It only has 1 GB internal and 2 GB SD card that's under this back. And actually, while it's booting, let's go ahead and pop this back. You can see it just turning on here. We'll pop the back off and show you that we have a SIM card in here for World Phone. We also have our 2 GB SD card, as well as our battery in the back. Now that battery is a 1420 milliamp hour battery, and is good for a little over 7 hours talk time, 320 hours in standby mode. So standard Android here, as far as this goes, this is Android 2.2 with Flash Froyo, and we can silence or wake it up here. We'll go ahead and wake it up. Now, this has recently been reset, isn't running any apps, and is pretty nice. So let's go ahead and open the app drawer. As you can see, opened, and this fades in and out quite nicely. Pretty nice. So let's scroll back left to right. Kind of standard Motorola here. We have our quick launches for Wi-Fi and Bluetooth, things like that. As we keep scrolling, we kind of have all our social networks. We can scroll really quickly at the bottom. You can see how fast that's moving. Quite nice there. If we go to the right, we have contacts. Things pretty much standard on any of these recent Android phones, kind of like Droid X, just different backgrounds at this point. Let me go ahead and bring you in a little bit closer so we can see the screen a little. You can see the screen a little bit better. So here's the screen on this phone. Let's go into the app drawer and show you how that scrolls pretty quickly. Now, one of the things that's a little bit different on this phone, other than standard Froyo with your applications and things such as your 3G mobile hotspot, should you choose to use it like that and pay for that service, is this has profiles. And I'm not really going to go into Android, since you probably are familiar if you've been looking into Android. The profiles are, hold this menu button, and I'm sorry, just tap it, and it will pop up and give you profiles. And what profiles are is you can have a profile for work, home, or whatever you want, weekend as this says. So let's go ahead and tap on home, and it's switching profiles. And this is something exclusive to this phone that I've seen. Maybe it's on other phones, but this is the first time I recall seeing it. And there we go. So what you can do is you can have a different desktop for whatever you want. If this is for your home, when you're at home and you want it set up for, say, music or social networks and things, but you can't really use that at work, you want to set it up for home. If I want to switch back, tap Profiles, go back to Profile, and it will switch. It does take a moment to reload everything, but it's not too bad at all. The phone itself is very usable. Let's go into the dialer. Just like any other phone, it does have haptic feedback when you tap the numbers, and works quite well. You've got your recents, contacts, favorites, those sort of things. Oh, whoops, I don't want to make a call. Making a call. Let's go ahead and... There, I don't even know what I called. So, as you can see, everything is very responsive. Let's go into the browser, and we will go to my site here. And let's zoom back out so you can see. It's very satisfying click how well it responds, and the keys are well spaced. I think most people that use a BlackBerry would be very happy with this keyboard. So as you can see, it's loading. I'm on 3G right now. I haven't set it up for Wi-Fi, but it's very fast usually. I have 4 bars. This is abnormally slow for this phone. I am kind of in a basement type area or lower part of a house. Okay, well, yeah, I know the battery's getting low. That's fine. There we go. It's loading. Normally load times are very quick. It's not usually an issue at all. And as you can see, that's we've got here. It's loaded. You can see how fast it scrolls. If I want to pinch to zoom, I can do that. Everything is just super responsive. So other than the great things I have to say about this phone, there are a couple downsides, or rather one downside, or two really. Screen size, I'd say, is a downside. It's a little bit small, but it is workable, and it is a little bit awkward if you're holding this in landscape mode when you're watching a video as you've got the keyboard hanging off the end. That's not really an issue. It's just something that... and probably something that most people won't even care about. Just something that I, noticed. Just wanted to point out. The only other thing I can say that's negative about this phone is actually the camera. The camera is okay. Like I said, it's 5 megapixel, but in comparisons with, say, a BlackBerry, BlackBerry Bold in particular, it does not seem to have up-to-par images. While it did show, I'm not going to show the image right now, but while it did show decent amount of detail in the background, it was very grainy in indoor situations, where the comparable BlackBerry actually didn't even show the background so much and was more dark and black without the pixelation and the graininess. It's not a bad camera in outdoor light by any means, but it does not record in HD, and that's another issue. It is standard DVD 480p quality, but it is not 720p. So if you're looking to do any of that, it may be an issue for you. I wouldn't imagine that most people looking for the Droid Pro are going to be interested in its camera as much as its usability. And from the people that have seen it that are interested in this portrait-style keyboard setup, I've had very positive feedback on that. I think the phone, for its intended purpose, is a great device and definitely worth checking out. It's really quality, really high quality, and really a great piece of hardware. Please continue to subscribe, comment, and ask any questions. I'll see you next time.